Daemon Targaryen was born in 81A, the second son of Prince Baelin and Princess Alyssa Targaryen. During the long and peaceful reign of King Jaehaerys, the first from his first breath, Daemon burned hotter than most, while his elder brother, Viserys, was steady and affable. Daemon was fire and storm restless, bold, and unapologetically proud. Even in youth, he seemed shaped by a destiny that would never tolerate stillness. He had the look of old Valyria, silver gold hair, eyes like amethysts, and a bearing that demanded attention. By his adolescence, he had bonded with the dragon Caraxes, a lean and fearsome red beast known as the Bloodworm. He wielded Dark Sister, the Valyrian steel sword once borne by Visenya Targaryen, sister wife to Aegon the Conqueror. His ambition was unmistakable. He would carve his name into the histories with fire and steel, if the realm wouldn't. T gave him a crown. Daemon's early years at court were turbulent. He was knighted young, served briefly as Master of Coin, and later Master of Laws under King Viserys I. But he had little patience for council chambers. His temperament, quick to mock and quicker to draw steel, made him enemies. The small folk loved him for his flair and defiance. The nobles feared him for the same reasons. But it was as commander of the city watch that Daemon truly left his mark. Before him, the gold cloaks were ill-trained and disorganized. Under Daemon, they became a feared urban force. He outfitted them with gold cloaks, thus giving them their enduring nickname and instilled brutal discipline. Crime in King's Landing plummeted, and Daemon became a prince of the streets, beloved by the commoners and watched warily by the lords. His personal life, however, was far from orderly. He was married reluctantly and politically to Lady Rhea Royce of the Vale. A stern and proud woman he openly mocked, calling her bronze bitch. They spent almost no time together. Daemon preferred the pleasures of the capital and the company of women like Mysaria, a foreign dancer known to the court as the White Worm. Rhea bore him no children, and Daemon gave her no affection. His relationship with his brother, King Viserys I, was complicated. The king loved Daemon, but his provocations and ambition made him difficult to trust. The final blow came in 120 AC, when Daemon made a cruel jest upon the death of Viserys' infant son, calling him the heir for a day. The court was outraged. Viserys, wounded, sent Daemon into exile once more. Daemon did not sulk. Instead, he turned to war. He joined Lord Corlys Velaryon in the War for the Stepstones, battling pirates and corsairs in the Narrow Sea. After years of bloody campaigning, Daemon crowned himself King of the Narrow Sea, though he eventually returned to King's Landing and bent the knee to his brother. His legend had grown. He had carved out a kingdom and won it by the sword. He needed no permission to be royal, he simply was. By 115 SC, his first wife had died under questionable circumstances. Some claimed it was a riding accident, others whispered of darker causes. Regardless, Daemon wasted no time. He married Lena Valerian, daughter of Lord Corlys and sister to Rhaenyra's first husband. They moved to Pentos, riding their dragons, Caraxes and Rhaegar along the free cities. They had twin daughters, Baela and Rhaena, and for a time, Daemon knew peace. But peace never suited him for long. In 120 AC, Lena died tragically during a difficult childbirth. Rather than endure another Mester's cut, she chose a dragon's fire walking into the jaws of Hagar and commanding the beast to burn her. Daemon was left a widower again, this time with true grief. His daughters were young, and his heart hollowed. He returned to Dragonstone and to Rhaenyra. She was now a widow, mother to 3 sons, and still her father's chosen heir. Their bond had always bordered scandal, but now, free of spouses, they acted on it. In a secret ceremony, they wed without the king's blessing. Viserys, furious, had no choice but to accept the match. The union sparked outrage. The court divided into factions. The Greens, loyal to Alicent Hightower and her son Aegon, and the Blacks, loyal to Rhaenyra and Daemon. From their union came two sons, Aegon the Younger and Viserys. Together with Rhaenyra's older children, they formed the Dragonborn dynasty, poised for war. On Dragonstone, the wind smelled of fire, and Daemon trained his boys not for peace, but for the throne. He had fought pirates, seduced a kingdom, and outlived exile. Now, Daemon Targaryen was more than rogue prince. He was the sword beside the heir. The peace forged by King Viserys I was fragile, held together by uneasy pacts and simmering rivalries. When the king died in 129 ASC, the realm braced for a succession crisis. Viserys had named his daughter Rhaenyra as his heir, the first woman to do so in centuries. But not everyone accepted her claim. The Hightowers and many lords in the south backed Alicent Hightower's son, Prince Aegon II. The Greens, as they came to be called, acted quickly and decisively. Aegon was crowned in a secret ceremony before news of Viserys' death spread. The Blacks, loyal to Rhaenyra and Daemon, declared her the rightful queen. The realm was shattered into two camps. The dance of the dragons, the bloody Targaryen civil war had begun. Daemon Targaryen was no stranger to conflict, but the war unfolding was different. It was not simply for glory or vengeance. It was for survival, for legacy, for the very soul House Targaryen. Rhaenyra, devastated by the sudden loss of her father, suffered a miscarriage. She gave birth to a stillborn daughter at Dragonstone, her grief deepening the dark shadow over the island fortress. Daemon, ever her fierce protector, crowned her queen of the Seven Kingdoms in a bold and defiant ceremony. To him, there was no doubt. Rhaenyra was the rightful ruler, and all who opposed her were traitors. He ruled with purpose, securing allies and strongholds. He took Harrenhal in the Riverlands without bloodshed, making it his base of operations. From there, he challenged the Greens on land and sky. His dragon Caraxes and Rhaenyra's great worm Syrax were symbols of power and destruction. The war quickly turned brutal. Both sides unleashed dragons upon the land, devastating towns, burning castles, and terrorizing peasants. The old rivalries between lords grew into open hatred. Betrayal and murder were common. No corner of Westeros was safe from fire and blood. In the midst of the conflict, tragedy struck. Rhaenyra's son, Lucerys Velaryon, riding the dragon Arax, was killed in a surprise aerial battle over Storm's End by Prince Aemon Targaryen. Aegon E's fierce and ruthless younger brother, Aemond, rider of the legendary dragon Vhagar, was Daemon's greatest enemy in the war. Daemon's rage at Lucerys' death was swift and merciless. In retaliation, he orchestrated the assassination of Aegon, the second son, Prince Jaehaerys. The realm's blood spilled freely now, and every act of vengeance fed the fire of the war. The conflict wasn't just fought in the skies and fields. It tore apart families, friendships, and the very fabric of the kingdom. Lords switched allegiances, cities fell, and hope seemed to fade. Daemon, known for his ferocity and cunning, became a symbol of the Black faction's resolve. Despite losses, Daemon's skill as a commander kept the Black cause alive. He maneuvered to maintain control of the Riverlands and key passes into the south. He and Rhaenyra were not just rulers, but warriors who shared the burdens of war and grief. Their bond, forged in love and defiance, was the heart of the rebellion. But the Greens were relentless. Prince Aemond, his one eye gleaming with cold fury, pursued Daemon across the land. Their dragons clashed repeatedly in the skies, each battle a deadly dance of fire and steel. As the war dragged on, the realm burned. Towns were reduced to ash. Noble houses were shattered or wiped out. Common folk fled or died in the crossfire. The cost of the dance was beyond measure. Still, Daemon remained unyielding. He knew that without victory, Rhaenyra's claim and the survival of their children would be lost. He prepared for the battles to come with grim determination, his every action driven by loyalty, love, and an unbreakable will. The dance of the dragons was only just beginning, and Daemon Targaryen was ready to lead its fiercest steps. The dance of the dragons raged through 130 AC, with fury unmatched in living memory. Westeros was a kingdom of flame, dragons tearing through sky and stone alike. Daemon Targaryen, commander of the Blacks and consort to Queen Rhaenyra, had become the embodiment of rebellion and fire. His presence on the battlefield inspired his allies and struck terror into his enemies. But no rivalry was fiercer than that between Daemon and Prince Aemon Targaryen. Aemon, the younger son of Queen Alicent and King Viserys, was a formidable warrior, ruthless and cunning. He rode Vhagar, the oldest and largest dragon alive, a creature of legendary power that had once brought down castles. Daemon rode Caraxes, equally ferocious but smaller, known as the Bloodworm. Their dragons mirrored their riders, fierce, relentless, and unstoppable. The two men clashed repeatedly across the skies of Westeros, their battles shaping the war's course. Each fight was a spectacle of flame and claw, a deadly ballet that left scorched earth and shattered castles behind. Daemon knew that to turn the tide, he had to face Aemon directly. The Green's champion had to fall. Their opportunity came near the God's Eye, a massive lake surrounded by dense forests and the ruins of Harrenhal. Daemon had taken Harrenhal as his base, making it a stronghold of the Black faction. Aemon came to challenge him there, determined to root out the rebel prince. When Aemon arrived, Daemon appeared to have abandoned the castle. The fortress gate stood open, eerily silent. It was a trap. As Vhagar and Caraxes met above the God's Eye, the skies darkened with smoke and ash. The dragons roared, flames licking the clouds, their riders locked in fierce combat. Daemon and Aemon battled midair with sword and claw, each strike a test of strength and skill. At one point, Daemon did the unthinkable. He leapt from Caraxes' back, sword in hand, and landed on Vhagar's neck. It was a desperate, dangerous move, but one that turned the tide. Dark Sister, the Valyrian steel sword Daemon wielded, pierced Aemon's eye, killing him instantly. Yet victory came at a terrible price. The dragons, locked in their deadly struggle, tumbled from the sky and crashed into the lake. Aemon's body was found still lashed to Vhagar, but Daemon's fate remained a mystery. Caraxes was found badly wounded on the shore, but Daemon himself vanished beneath the waters. Some whispered that he had drowned. Others claimed he had survived and escaped into exile. No one could say for certain. Daemon Targaryen, prince, warrior, rebel was gone. His death marked a turning point in the war. Rhaenyra's cause lost its most fierce defender and strategist. Without Daemon, the Black faction's hold weakened, and the Greens seized momentum. But Daemon's legacy lived on through his children, through the stories told by the survivors, and in the shadow of the dragons themselves. His daughters, Baela and Rhaena Valerian, carried the fire of their father's spirit and flew dragons in battles that followed. His sons by Rhaenyra, Aegon, and Viserys bore the Targaryen bloodline into the future, scarred but unbroken. The dance of the dragons was far from over, but Daemon Targaryen's part in it had ended with a leap from the sky, sword in hand, and fire in his soul. The loss of Daemon Targaryen was a devastating blow to the Black faction. His daring spirit and unmatched skill had been the backbone of Queen Rhaenyra's fight for the throne. With him gone, whether dead or missing, hope waned, and the war took a darker turn. Rhaenyra herself was shattered. Her grief was deep and raw. The prince she loved, her consort and champion, had vanished in the chaos of battle. Though she continued to command her armies, her strength faltered under the weight of loss and betrayal. The Greens pressed their advantage relentlessly. The realm was exhausted. Castles burned, crops failed, and thousands of innocents perished beneath dragonfire. Lords grew weary and wary. Some switched sides, others abandoned their holdings entirely. The war was no longer about rightful succession. It had become a bitter struggle for survival. Rhaenyra retreated to Dragonstone, her ancestral seat, where she faced repeated sieges and betrayals. Her forces dwindled. Her dragons weakened. Yet still, she refused to yield. Her remaining children, her sons Aegon and Viserys, born to Daemon, were raised amidst the war's fire. Daemon's blood ran fiercely in their veins, shaping their destiny. They would grow into warriors themselves, dragons beneath them, ready to fight for their mother's claim and their family's honor. But the tide was turning irreversibly. King Aegon II, backed by the power of the Greens and the Hightowers, captured King's Landing. Rhaenyra's position crumbled. Her allies were hunted down and many were executed. Eventually, Rhaenyra was betrayed by one of her own. Captured and paraded through the streets of King's Landing, she faced a grim fate. In 130 AD, her reign ended in flames as she was fed to her half-brother Aegon E's dragon, Sunfire. Her death marked the tragic climax of the dance. Though Daemon was gone, his sons fought on. They escaped Dragonstone, fleeing the city with loyalists and remnants of the Black faction. Aegon and Viserys carried the hopes of their mother's claim, but the war was all but lost. The realm mourned what the war had destroyed: families, alliances, dragons, and the Targaryen legacy itself. The blood feud would not be forgotten, its scars lasting for generations. Daemon's daughters, Baela and Rhaena Valerion, who had flown in battles above the skies of Westeros, survived the war and went on to marry into noble houses, keeping the Targaryen blood alive. Though Daemon vanished from history's stage, his fire endured in his children. In the tales told around hearths and in the embers of the dragons that once ruled the skies, the dance of the dragons would not be the last war to test House Targaryen. But Daemon's legend, the Rogue Prince, the warrior king without a crown, would echo long after the dragon's flames dimmed. Though Daemon Targaryen vanished in the waters beneath the god's eye, his presence never truly faded from the history of Westeros. The Rogue Prince, the dragon rider who dared defy kings and bend the realm to his will, became legend. His deeds whispered in the halls of castles and sung in the streets of common folk. After the brutal end of the Dance of the Dragons, the realm lay shattered, its people scarred by war and fire. The Targaryen line itself was fractured. King Aegon II died young and childless, poisoned by his own counsel's treachery, while Rhaenyra's sons, Daemon's sons, escaped to fight on, though their efforts to reclaim the throne failed. The war had weakened House Targaryen beyond measure, leaving the dragons fewer and the kingdom wary of further conflict. Yet Daemon's bloodline endured. His daughters Baela and Rhaena Valerion, famed dragon riders in their own right, married into noble houses, preserving the Targaryen flame. His sons Aegon and Viserys lived on, their survival a testament to Daemon's enduring legacy. They would become key players in the generations that followed, shaping the future of Westeros in ways their father's fire could only hint at. Daemon's life was a tapestry of contradictions: ruthless warrior and devoted father, exile and king, villain and hero. His refusal to bend to fate, his fierce loyalty to those he loved, and his indomitable will left a mark not just on the war but on the identity of House Targaryen itself. In the decades after the dance, the stories of Daemon Targaryen grew into myth. The Bloodworm, the rogue prince who rode the red dragon Caraxes and battled the mightiest foes, became a symbol of defiance and passion. Bards sang of his bravery, children dreamed of riding dragons like him, and nobles recalled his daring raids and cunning strategies. The war itself became a cautionary tale of pride, ambition, and the destruction wrought when family turns on family. Yet in that destruction, Daemon's story stood out as one of fire forged in loss. A reminder that even in the darkest times, fierce hearts burn bright. House Targaryen would rise and fall many more times. But the shadow of Daemon, the prince who lived on his own terms, who fought dragons and kings alike, would linger in the blood and flame of every Targaryen to come.